Hello. My keto recipe today is, pardon the dog. My brother is over and he's outside and she's driving me nuts. But we're going to do a potted chili. I don't have it in here right now, but this is before. But here are the ingredients. Start off with seasonings. And let me get my recipe thing so I can tell you what everything is. You've got 1.5 teaspoons. All this is 1.5 teaspoons. You've got salt, garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, and paprika. In here you've got 6 tablespoons of chili powder, 3 tablespoons of Italian seasoning, and 3/4 teaspoons of cayenne pepper. Now that right there, cayenne pepper, that's going to determine how hot this chili is. Right now it's not very hot, it's mild. If you want it hotter, you add more. You don't want it hot at all, you eliminate that or reduce it. You're also going to do a small, this is like a 6-ounce can of tomato paste. Make sure you get it without sugar. This one only has sugar and citric acid. The citric acid is for preservation. And then you want, this is a can of kind of like Rotel tomatoes, only this has less sugar. And it has chipotle, let me just see if I can get this. It's diced tomatoes with chipotle chili, and this will give it a little more spice, not much, it's a medium. And try to get the one that's got as less sugar as you possibly can. This one has less than 2%, and it's the last ingredient on the list, which means it has the least amount of anything in there is sugar. I couldn't find one without sugar, so you have to kind of get the least amount that you can, and that happened to be this one. And then you're also going to want, and I haven't cooked it yet, but 2 pounds of ground meat. I've got beef and turkey because that's all we got in the house right now. And here we go. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to brown your meat. Now, this meat was a pound of frozen ground beef and a pound of frozen turkey. I did not add any oil to it. You can if you want. This, since it's frozen, it tends to have a lot of juice in it, so I didn't add any oil. But you'll also notice that I'm not draining the juice from this either. To me, that is where a lot of the flavor is, so I leave it in. Next, I'm adding all my spices. I add it all together, and I stir it in with the meat. I make sure that all those spices get coated onto the meat so that when you bite into it, you taste all those flavors. I tend to like doing that better than adding the seasonings to a sauce or a pan that already has a lot of juice. Now just make sure that it's all stirred in. All the meat is covered in all the spices. Now this is a recipe that is good right straight after you make it, but it's even better if you let it set for overnight or at least a couple of days. It gives it a chance for all the seasonings that you just put in to marry and incorporate into each other. Now I'm adding the tomato paste. Tomato paste, now this one is the only one that I found in my grocery store that did not have sugar in it. So when you're looking, make sure that the ingredients are simple. This one only has tomatoes and citric acid. Now the citric acid in it is necessary to help preserve it. If anybody does any canning of tomatoes and stuff, you'll see the recipe usually always calls for citric acid. But I'm adding it straight to the meat too. And we're going to stir that in and make sure that all the tomato is incorporated into the meat. Tomato paste Though, if you'll look, that whole can has like 7 carbs per serving. But here's the thing. It gives it an extra richness and flavor. And all those carbs come directly from tomatoes. Sorry, my dog has just decided she's looking to see who I'm talking to and is in my face. Okay, so the next thing I'm adding is the diced tomatoes with chilies. Now this one also, make sure that it has, if it, and I'll tell you right now, finding one of these without sugar is nearly impossible, and I haven't found any. This one, however, has the lowest amount of sugar I could find. It was listed in the ingredients of 2% or less, and in that, it was the last ingredient. So it has sugar, but it's very minute. If you don't want to do that, then you can take fresh tomatoes and chop them up and take a can of chilies and add that to it if you would like. Now at this point I'm realizing that I don't have enough tomatoes in here. Well, actually you see me stirring my breakfast, but I realized that I don't have enough tomatoes. The last time I actually added 2 cans, and apparently I forgot to write down the second can. So I'm hunting down another can of diced tomatoes to put into there. And if you notice that I'm not draining anything. I didn't drain the tomatoes from their juice. I didn't drain the meat. And I'm not draining this one either. I'm adding tomatoes and juice. Because if you drain all that, you're taking away the flavor. And then you would have to turn around and add beef broth or something to. And why take away flavor when you can keep it in there? So I'm just stirring it up, making sure it's all incorporated. Now this is about the time that you want to taste it to see if it's right. And I'm tasting and realizing that it's not quite right. And now I'm fixing to let my mom taste it. We realized that it actually needed extra salt. So this is where you can start adding more stuff. And I'm adding salt. And you'll notice it's pink Hawaiian salt. Not Hawaiian, Himalayan salt. And then I stir it in. And then you just let it cook a little bit until the tomatoes get cooked down. It doesn't take long. And there you go. And we actually serve ours with pork cracklings. We use these as a substitute for Fritos, for like in Frito pie. And then we'll just put these in the bottom. Now you don't want the pork rinds, you want pork cracklings. Pork cracklings tend to be tougher, harder, and they hold up into the chili better. If you just put pork rinds in there, then you're just going to get a soggy mess. But then we'll put that in the bottom. We'll put chili on top. Well, or for me, I put my cheese and then my chili, so my chili melts my cheese. And then here is the final product. And it's delicious. We had it last night. Hope you enjoy. Bye.